So what can I say? My journey to this point has been one of maybe 44 years, coming to Grasmere as a teenager for a summer job and staying the rest of my life. An example of a migrant worker who found their unsuspected paradise. To prepare for today, this week I have wandered lonely through files I have accumulated and visited many places I had forgotten I'd been. But Graham remembers them well. The hours I've sat in front of the computer and the visits to archives throughout the county in his or Hannah's company. Absorbing knowledge along the way, journeying through cyberface via Ancestry.com and the UK censuses. The joys of this journey have seen history come alive and jump off the pages of manuscripts and having the thrill of the chase and the rewards of winning a treasure hunt. Searching archives in Grasmere, Carlisle, Ambleside and Kendal, and the Westminster Gazette microfilms at the library, and of course talking to everyone, something I don't do very often, and attempting some oral history taking. Where did it lead me? What did I uncover? Who did I meet? There were so many things that didn't get included in the show. And don't forget, I have a butterfly mind and get waylaid easily. Along the way, I've met some similarly minded people, our local historians here, and well supported by professionals who are very kind. I've learnt to use various types of resources, especially the censuses and Kelly's directories. They tell us of the facilities developing in the village, the start of the postal service, where to get tours and buses, the start of the reading rooms, which had subscriptions for weekly, monthly, or daily attendance as part of the temperance movement. Discovering the names keep cropping up time and time and time again. I found military connections. Grasmere had a volunteer battalion, linked to the border regiment. No record survived. They were kept locally by Sam Reed. My research complemented others. An old map provided why the Wyke had been built a certain way. Renewing links with the Trust and our favourite journalist Dorothy and her reference to local people and events and the death of a funeral of a pauper, Susan Shacklock, at Howe Top, caused me to chase her lineage, but to no avail. We revisited old favourites, brush bearing, utilising Margaret's previous research and rekindling my practical winding skills that formed the basis of workshops over Christmas and an afternoon club next Tuesday. So if anybody'd like to come and help, it's 3:30 in the Education Office. Family connections brought stonebreaker Richard Basebrown to the fore. Another migrant family. Richard came with his brother John from Hawkshead, and that hammer in the exhibition started much bigger than it already is. Through him, I learnt about old age pensions, how they set off on a very low with the purpose to encourage self-provision. You needed to be 70 and of good character to actually be eligible. At Carlisle, Hannah and I found letters to and from Lord Lonsdale and his agents about a piece of land up Easdale, wanted by Mr. Wilson Cole for access to an intake. And these were verified by vestry minutes found at the Armit in Ambleside. Unable to exhibit this properly because we had no permission from the Earl. Other vestry minutes show that Thomas Hardy seconded most proposals, and William Baldry was made the Inspector of Nuisances. It's basically sewerage. More vestry minutes of September 1871 show the formation of the local board in response to cholera epidemics and were given powers to control sewers, clean the streets, regulate environmental health risks, including the slaughterhouse, and ensure proper supply of water to their districts. Local boards eventually merged with corporations or became urban districts in 1894. GUDC, Grasmere, had its own urban district council. One of the first things we learnt, thank you Vivian, was that villages are not legal entities, but townships, hence the urban. Evidence of this could be found on some manhole covers in the village, long since replaced. An intriguing point that baffled me for quite some time was the Rydal-Grasmere boundary. You can see the line by the southbound bus stop opposite the Daffodil Hotel, which was built by my man Levi Hodgson. The Daffodil was first called Brown's Lakeside Hotel, later named after a very naughty boy who chased sheep, the Prince of Wales. But buildings in Broadgate and Becksteps were part of Rydal and Loughrig until they were incorporated in 1882. Literally, that side of the river was in Rydal. And it all happened down to the cost of implementing better sewerage. The Armouret also holds old parish magazines, showing that a cricket club started at Whitebridge round about 1895. Dr. Will Smith uncovered and shared a story about a grant or gift of money from Queen Victoria to start that said club. William Baldry, another of Will's favourite men in the village, wife was in service at Windsor Castle. He reputedly taught the royal household to play cricket, and for that service, the village was rewarded. Censuses showed that Sam Lloyd lived in a small beach cottage with nephew Edward Button, and the new cemetery in Pye Lane opened in January 1899. My continuing learning from my history passion is that of dialect plays, and just recently this week I have come across the first one, which was in 1893, performed by the St Oswald's Temperance Group at school, where they took £68. Originally, the group was going to research the village through the 19th century through vernacular architecture. And we had a great talk last winter by Rob David, setting us on our way to look at houses by the way they were built and modified, even having a field visit with visiting enthusiasts. Eventually, after 2 false starts, I was assigned How Top Farm. And for me, it was the jewel in the crown. For not only was it a listed building, therefore of significant interest, having an iconic Lakeland bank barn, but it led to discover a man who came, saw, and conquered in his own way, became a principal inhabitant, featuring in directories, vestry minutes, and even in the Westmoreland Gazette, but all for the right reasons. It was actually Will again who found this, and it showed a photograph of Levi Hodgson, so I'm very indebted. Levi Hodgson became my man, coming from Patterdale, marrying his Betty in June 1834, and having 11 children, 10 surviving childhood, but only 1 son. Now, sorry, Keith, this is my attempt at Westmoreland dialect. He once remarked to a stranger when asked about all the children being his, "Aye, 9 of them. They're my 9. Every one of them has a brother." He must have worked hard, known the right people, and had the right opportunities, getting contracts to build village bridges as early as 1848. Farming at the same time, obviously had a gardener, Mr. Hardy, which I hadn't realised till today. And by 1851, 11 Wallers and 12 labourers, including the apprentice Joseph Casson Hodgson, another relative of another villager living here. He never owned a house top, but he built a lot of the booming village. We know that he had the Prince of Wales, Woodland Crag, what is now the Hollands. He built Tannercroft, and what is known as 3 Degrees West, or as Island View. And his trademark was the hipped entrance. If you go down Langdale Road to between the Red Lion and the Jumble Room, there's a building that has a hipped side where the door is, and that was his signature. And you find that quite a lot through the village. Never owning Howtop, which was once owned by Dr. William Pearson, founder member of the Royal Astrological Society and school colleague of our friend William Wordsworth, who, by the way, offered to sell Howtop to William, then decided to go to Bridal Mount. You can see how many paths lead from one investigation. After a long working life, Levi retired to Sykeside, and the census and valuation state his daughter Dinah owned it. One can only presume that he bought it and gifted it before his death in 1885, as his probate states that he only left £46 to his relic, Elizabeth Hodgson. He lies in St Oswald's churchyard. Only one daughter married, Elizabeth, to the family beauty schoolmaster William Fuller, It's still a local family name in Ambleside. Daughter Dinah's probate that she left it to the house to her brother Aaron, leaving £2,000. He, when he died in the 30s, left 5,000 plus, but to William Heelis, the solicitor. My inquiries to Temple Heelis were not forthcoming. The probate officers told me it's quite often the case that individuals would ask and trust their solicitor to use the money for charitable uses. Sykeside is the cottage we first meet Molly and Aggie Fisher, as today it's part of the Trust Town End complex and Pamela's Grasmere home. I shall be ever grateful for the friends I have made, colleagues I have had the chance to work with, and the opportunities offered for enhancing my skill sets. My love of using Ancestry.com will continue. Finding that Graham's great-grandma Agnes Tamar was a Thompson before she married stonebreaker Richard, I wonder if she was related to Betty, spouse of Levi. You never know, we could be related. Grasmere has become my home. Researching its history and being involved in local history projects have enhanced the passion about my surroundings. I urge you all to join us, because you never know where you'll go or who you will meet.